now, the race that all of Anaheim Stadium, all 70,035 people have been waiting for, the beginning of the main event. And here we go. The gate is down, falling backwards towards the riders, and we're off to a start. Looks like Ricky Johnson and Johnny O'Mara and David Bailey getting off to a good one. Whoa, a Suzuki gets backdoored out there, coming through the first corner. Holy smoke, Burnworth. Oh, Burnworth gets knocked down by Ricky Johnson in the second corner of the race. That's the Yamaha factory pilot in the orange and black, and he's under his bike. It's taken him a couple minutes to get back up. We certainly hope he's okay. You can see we've got medical personnel right there on top of it, but he's getting back up and walking back towards his bike. So now let's go back to the leaders. Up in the top spot, you got Ricky Johnson in the lead. Whoa, there's another bale in the sand. That looks like Brock Glover. And indeed it is. Brock, number 4 from El Cajon, one of the favorites to this race, can only watch as the entire rest. He's got Burnworth out of the way. He's got Glover out of the way. Those are two very major riders in this race, and so Ricky can breathe a little bit easier as the green flag is out and we've got an official start. Look at the lead that RJ is sitting upon. His very first race of the 1986 season for the Honda factory, and certainly he is putting on a great show. There he is, tripling the jumps, just like we saw him do earlier during qualifying. Ricky Johnson with about a 4, maybe even a 5-second lead at this point, which is real nice to sit on in the early going of the race. During last season's event, we were running 2 12-lap main events, but we threw that out for 1986 as these guys are running one winner-take-all main event. Whatever happens here is the basis upon which all the points and all the money is going to be going out. Number 5, Ricky Johnson from El Cajon, again sitting on a nice little gap over what looked to be number 11, George Holland. What's this? 3 and 6, that's Bailey and O'Mara right now battling it out for what I believe is 4th place. Now moving up into 3rd is Bailey. That'll drop O'Mara back down into 4th. I'm really surprised to see O'Mara doing as well as he is. Remember, that knee of his is only at 3/4 strength at best. But Bailey right here, number 6, now trying to make a move on number 11, George Holland. We'll go back to them in just a few minutes. But first, again, let's look at the big lead that Ricky Johnson is sitting on. Once again, jumping over all 3 of those jumps. And you can't see it from that angle, but the people sitting in the stands behind those 3 jumps going crazy, leaning over the rails and waving to the riders as they come by. Part of the excitement of Supercross. Everybody has a chance to get involved and cheer on their favorite riders. So it's the early going. RJ, number 5. Not too far away from here is where he lives. El Cajon, down in the San Diego area is where Ricky comes from. He has never won a Supercross title, and he hasn't won a Supercross race, well, since towards the tail end of the 1985 season. So he's a little bit overdue as far as a nice big win comes here for him. So you can bet that his factory support people are watching for him back in the pits, trying to cheer him on with their fingers and toes crossed. Ricky, number 5, barely out of his teens, one of the younger riders on the circuit. Still, he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders right now. Look at the lead that he's enjoying, and the thing right now is that there are no lap riders for him to have to worry about at this stage. That's actually going to be probably his biggest test when he begins to go so fast that he actually moves around to the tail end of the pack that he left behind at the starting gate. Still about there, you get a good shot of the difference between 1st and 2nd place. You've got to go way back behind before you see a runner-up. Right now, it's a full 9 seconds in between 1st and 2nd place. And Ricky, well, except for that foot falling off the peg right there, running almost a letter-perfect event here at the beginning of the event. This is it, the 20-lap main event right here with Ricky Johnson running away from the pack a good 9 seconds up and over 2nd. Beautiful picture of the kind of altitude that these guys get jumping over these man-made obstacles here on the floor of Anaheim Stadium. You know, this is the 8th consecutive year that Anaheim Stadium has sold out. We've got beautiful 70-degree temperature out here in Southern California tonight. Ideal racing conditions. There's very little dust out on the track. And even though it's an extremely technical course with 50% more obstacles than these riders are normally used to having, well, Ricky Johnson seems to have the thing well in hand. Taking a look back behind him, you still cannot see anybody in 2nd place. Since he's enjoying such a big lead, earlier on, Dave Stanfield had a talk with Ricky Johnson, so back to live action. A little bit earlier, we were talking about how Ricky Johnson is going to have to start facing the back end of the pack. And sure enough, the rider he's approaching right now is the very same rider that he tangled with in the 1st corner of the race. Remember when he and Scott Burnworth tangled? Scott Burnworth ended up underneath his machine, and it took him quite a while to get going again. Well, Burnworth very obviously is a lap down at this time. And right now, Ricky Johnson's job is to get around the burner just as quickly as he can so that he doesn't lose that precious 9-second lead that he has. Well, there you can see Bailey already is beginning to catch up back behind him. You got to begin to wonder, perhaps could Burnworth be a little irked at what happened early on in the race? Could he be intentionally holding number 5, Ricky Johnson, back? That's part of team racing right here, and that is exactly what we're looking at. Burnworth very obviously is slowing down Ricky Johnson. There's Bailey right behind him, where before Bailey couldn't touch Johnson with a 10-foot pole. Heck, he could barely touch him with a 10-second pole. Now, here we go. He goes by the Yamaha, so he finally gets by Burnworth. Look at that. Burnworth pulled by within a matter of moments for David Bailey right there. Kind of rams that point home. So we've got Ricky Johnson in the lead, but now instead of 9 seconds by, Bailey's right next to him. Holy smoke, he wastes no time at going for the jugular. Goes right for the lead right there, and Johnson on the inside line has got guts. Look at this, side by side into the corner, a wide open straightaway in front of him, and there's no holding back. Into the big berm. Now they'll approach the triples. Whoa, there's the difference between first and second place as Ricky Johnson did all 3 and Bailey chose only to do 2. Now probably a safety factor there. Reason why David didn't want to land on top of Ricky had Ricky not gone for all 3 of them at once. Whoa, some tight racing going on right here. Yeah, get out of the way, photographer. We want to get a look at this. It's the race for first place. This is the closest we have ever seen our top 2 finishers here tonight. Number 5 in the blue jersey from Honda, Ricky Johnson, also on a Honda. Number 6, David Bailey right back behind him as they cross the finish line. That's a lapped rider they're going by right there. Number 10, A.J. Whiting. He's at least 1 lap down. All along the side of the track, friends cheering them on, waving their fists, pointing to their heads, saying, think, guys, think. Got the youngster, and although he's not old, you got to call him the oldster. David Bailey, of course, has been around for quite a long time, the 2-time Grand National Champion. But Ricky Johnson is only this season beginning his rapid climb up through the ranks. Look at that, over the triples, and this time David Bailey makes all 3 of the triples as well. Remember, since they are on the same factory team, that means they won't be taking any unnecessary chances as far as their racing goes when they get side by side. Nonetheless, only one of these 2 riders can take home the first place check and, of course, all the first place glory. And so, well, you know that they're going to be going for each other should they go side by side. They're just not going to try anything too sneaky on each other. Again, we're looking at those monster roosts. Wow, a great pass the way that Bailey went through there on the outside of the sand. He went a lot higher than Ricky, and Ricky very nearly T-boned him right there in the corner. So take back everything I said about those guys. They're going hog wild for the lead. It's an all-out battle for first place. Teammates or no teammates, only one of them can take home the title, and number 6, David Bailey, sitting on top of it right now. Again, having to wind his way through the clogged traffic at the tail end of the pack here. Number 5 is the only guy in camera view right now who is on the same lap. Everybody else, they're at least 1 lap down. It's a wide open 1-2 punch. Racing for the lead, David Bailey from Axton, Virginia, number 6 in the red and white. Well, another bump! And this time, Johnson is going to use the loss of Bailey's momentum to his advantage as he'll take the lead right back. So Ricky, who started off the race in first place, got held back by Burnworth, then got dropped back into second place by Bailey, is able to go ahead and steamroller right back up into the top slot. Bailey not about to give up. He's less than a bike length down. It's another tight corner just before the finish line. Very nearly side by side as they go up in the air. Ricky now with only 1 bike length of an advantage in between first and second place. Holy smoke, you can run out of breath just talking about this thing, and we sure hope you're enjoying all the action at your own home. At this point right now, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a break in the action. David Bailey down in second place as Ricky right now enjoying, well, it's about a bike length and a half, 2 bike lengths in certain sections of the track. Look at this, Bailey on the inside pulls the lead and takes it back again. That's the 4th time in a lap that we've had the lead change. So at this point, give me a chance to catch my breath. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back. Welcome back to Anaheim Stadium. This is Greg Barbacovi along with David Stanfield, and through the miracles of television, you've missed almost not a single thing at all. We've still got a super tight race for first and second place. There you can see number 5, Ricky Johnson in the blue jersey, doing his best to try and regain the lead that he held for the very first part of the event. Ricky was the early leader. As a matter of fact, he and another rider tangled in the very first corner of the race. Burnworth went down. Ricky held the lead for the first third. Then David Bailey began his come from behind. Those guys knuckle to knuckle right now. Here, once again on the inside, Ricky trying to take the lead back, but David Bailey says, move over, Sarge, and he regains the lead. So number 6 and number 5, both of them from the very same team. That hasn't stopped them from some major league bumping and grinding, though, as both of these guys have been knocking each other and hay bales, trying to maintain the precious gap that both of them have held at one time or another in the top slot. There's a very unusual picture right there. Who would have ever thought that you would see number 4, Brock Glover, former Supercross champ, being lapped, and there's Ricky Johnson, a great inside pass, and Bailey gets him back again. Holy smoke, these guys. Now Bailey comes to almost a complete stop, and Ricky Johnson's front tire almost climbed up the back of David Bailey's jersey. They came to almost a dead stop in that very tight corner. Now we're back again to a 3 bike length advantage between first and second place, and the entire Anaheim Stadium crowd is on their feet. We've got over 70,000 people here in Southern California, the 8th year in a row that this has been a sellout, and everybody is on their feet watching first and second place. We've only got a couple laps left right here. We'll see the white flag before too much longer. You can see the spectators leaning over the bars, trying to get within view of the riders so that they can cheer on their favorites. Again, lapping another rider, and you never would expect that they would have to lap number 2, Ron Lachine. He was supposed to be one of the hot dudes in this event. Ron Lachine pulls over. Very nice move on Ron's part. Sportsmanlike. He doesn't want to get in the way of the 2 guys that are still in the front running. Over there by the finish line. No flags yet. White flag will be out before you can say Jiminy Cricket. And first and second place have not changed. They are just as tight as ever. Going by Brock Glover on the outside. A very disappointed Brock Glover. This is not the way that Brock wanted to start his 1986 season. But the little professor, the son of a former American champion, David Bailey. Well, at this point, I can look out over the field and see that the white flag is out, so apparently we missed that last time, and everybody here in the stadium is up and cheering on their favorites. Of course, right now, taking a look back over his shoulder, number 6, David Bailey. Boy, a long, hard-fought race for the rider coming all the way out here from Virginia, a former Supercross champion, and he's starting off the 1986 Nippon Denso Series with a blast right here. A come-from-behind blast, nonetheless. Little tough landing right there, as he's probably thinking more about the checkered flag than anything else. And here it comes, the white flag out, the checkered flag is what you see, and David the Bandit Bailey, number 6, the little professor, takes a surprise come-from-behind win here to open up the 1986 Nippon Denso Series. Very tired and an almost unbelieving David Bailey as he shakes his head while approaching the pits. He gets a warm hug from his mechanic down there on the field. David Bailey will be the winner, and the crowd is ecstatic.
Listen to these guys, the teammates, the Honda teammates looking real good up here. David Bailey coming out ahead, Rick Johnson second. David, some wild riding over here, especially in that sand pit.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of an understatement, I think. I think there was a few times when Rick was about to land on me. You know, we're just jumping over each other. There was so many jumps. There was a couple times, I think, right by the finish line where I was on top of Rick. I didn't even know where he was for sure, and he just squirted out from underneath me, but it was real close. We pretty much made an agreement at the starting line. We go, you know, the track's tight. We're both going really fast tonight, and if we hit each other, that's just the way it goes, you know, as long as we don't kill each other. And as you can see, it was really close racing, but I'm just happy it turned out so good for Honda and not just for myself.
Did you ever back off because he's your teammate?
No. In fact, there was one time these triples over here that I think my dad walked it off. He's got pretty accurate feet, and they're about 13 inches long. And it's 65 feet across that thing, and you don't have very much of a run. There was some rocks and things. And Rick and I both weren't really sure because there was a couple of lappers riding through it, and we were just over in the air going, God, I might be dead, or might be dead when I land, but we just gave it everything we had.
Great job. Nice start for the season.
Thanks a lot.